Always a pleasure to have you with us and to learn more from you and about what is happening. So, of course, if any of us have been watching the news, reading the papers, we have kind of had this introduction to this property, but some people might have missed it. So, let's get an understanding then. What is this proposed development that is being discussed?
Thank you for asking that. Eastmore Properties is a developer of this exciting new development that will be a condo development. If you can picture the western part of New Providence by the Life Key Hospital, is right there in that area. It's part of the Life Key community. E.P. Taylor was really a genius. He envisaged that there would be a condominium type development, and it was laid out on a plan and approved by the Bahamas government, would you believe, Star, as far back as 1986.
Wow.
So Eastmore wants to actually develop it, right? They're looking at attracting people like you and Carlos. Look at that picture behind you, young professionals. And then also people, older people, I won't say like me, I'll say like Lester Cox, who would like to have downsize but still have exciting condo living. They can't wait to get their approval in principle from the town planning department so they can start talking with people in the community, the Life Key community, the community in the Western area, to talk about what it might look like. I don't know whether I'll say to you, you may not know that Jackson Burnside, God rest his soul, when he was alive, was very, very much connected with the developers, the Dingman family. And so we're looking to engaging Bahamian architects who want to have a Bahamian sense of place in that area, in the western side of New Providence, Bahamian engineers and so forth. So we're really, really excited about bringing forth this whole new opportunity for young professionals, especially, and those who want to downsize and enjoy condominium living.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you for that vision and for kind of putting it in perspective in terms of location, which I think is very helpful, as many people might be considering this project to be specifically behind the gates, as we know it of Lyford Key.
It is. You would enter it behind the gates, okay, but it's on the edge of Lyford Key there by the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then we've heard Madam QC discuss with us, Mr. Cox, kind of the gist of why this is important. You are a resident in the western part of New Providence. Why do you think this kind of development is necessary at this time?
Well, I think so because, first of all, you're talking about housing opportunities for young professionals, not only young professionals, but as Allison said, people who want to downsize and want to live in a more controlled community, if I can use that expression. But I'm very much concerned about the economic impact to our country, because I'm into how do we develop our country continuously. And when I think about what's going to take place, you're looking at not just job opportunities, but you're looking at entrepreneurial opportunities, young people who can build various businesses even from this development. For example, you might need a concierge desk. You might need transportation. You might need someone who wants to develop, let's say, a cleaning service, etc. These are all people that's coming in who need these services. And so I'm looking more from the economic aspect. Also, I believe that in order to build a vibrant community, you've got to be inclusive and not exclusive. And it's if I can use an expression, Lyford Key has been known to be just for older people. I don't mean to be sacrilegious there, but I think with the condominium development, you're going to see the young professionals moving in. And when you have the merging of those two minds, I think it's a great opportunity. And it's a great way to see the community expand even more.
Okay. And with that being said, Mrs. Maynard Gibson, have you received any interest from possibly prospective buyers yet?
A very, very active interest. At least 40 people have already expressed an interest. And so, like I said, there's a real interest, there's a real need. I'm sure you know, Star, and others as well. Young people, think of your friends who want to come and live and work in the Bahamas, right? Or even work from the Bahamas. They don't want to buy a house. Think about your techie people, Carlos is involved in the climate change environmental stuff. They don't want a home necessarily, but they would love to live in the Bahamas and work from the Bahamas. Those are the kinds of people, your crypto, your digital asset space people, And like I said, all this, there's a really diverse community.
Yeah.
And that's what makes for vibrant, healthy living.
Yes.
So talking about vibrant and healthy living, one of the things that comes with that is the commentary from others that this is not a development that they want to see happen, that this is something that they are against. And so whenever you propose something new, you will have people on both sides. In terms of what we've been hearing from those who think that this will hurt rather than help the community, what do you say to those stakeholders?
Get engaged. After an approval in principle is obtained, the developer is a very responsible developer. The town planning committee is also listening to both sides, and get engaged, hear what it's about. Change is a little bit challenging sometimes for people. Look at the fact that when change has been made in the past, in Life at Key and outside of Life at Key, everything has worked out fine. So embrace it. Talk to the developer whose ears are wide open, anxious to hear what you're saying. And this is good. The developer lives in life. The developer's family has lived in Life at Key for many, many years. Look at their beautiful home that, as I said, was designed by Jackson Burnside. Nobody criticized that. They were concerned about it. They were saying, well, what's this going on here? Get engaged and talk to the developer. Embrace change.
Okay, embrace change, being the word come in this morning. All right, and Mr. Cox, then any final words that you want to leave with our audience in terms of maybe being open or any other thoughts that you want to share with us this morning?
I think as Alison said, change is frightening for some people, but change is inevitable. Think about it for a moment. If we had still been in locomotives or trains, we would not have experienced the Industrial Revolution that we're seeing constantly happening. As simple as the internet today, a lot of the young people are very techie. We have FTX here in the Bahamas. We have other cryptocurrency people. And as you said earlier, some people just, quote unquote, they just don't want to have the task of having to clean yard, this thing, the next thing, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's a vibrant opportunity to live together in community and also to build relationships. That's important because when you live in that type of communal environment, you're bound to build new relationships very quickly. And who knows where those relationships will lead. So I just think it's a wonderful opportunity. Again, I've got to plug it in. I'm very concerned about others, job opportunity, entrepreneurial opportunity, expansion of the housing market, and just excitement of knowing that the area that I live in, the Western District, something is happening and that will better the entire Bahamas.
Stop, before you ring off, I want to tell everybody who's listening, look at you and look at those beautiful, that picture behind you, those pictures of that beautiful family, young, vibrant family, the future. That's what we're talking about. When you think about this development, think about Anastasia and Carlos Palacios and those beautiful children. That's vibrant community.
I hear that. I hear that, Megan. If you do get the approvals in place, is there a timeline that you expect construction to begin and a time frame that you think it will be completed by?
The developer, of course, if there's an approval in principle, expects that the town planning committee will demand certain studies to be done and so forth. And they're very confident that those will come through positively, engaging with the community as well. But to answer your question, once those are done, shovel in the ground. If they were done tomorrow, shovel in the ground day after tomorrow.
All right. Well, we want to thank you both for coming to join us this morning, bringing some clarity to exactly what is happening with the project and giving us another perspective than some that we might have seen. And so we appreciate you joining us on Bahamas at Sunrise. We trust that if the approvals are given, you'll be back to share more with us. But thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for the opportunity. Take care now.
Yes, thank you for having us and have a blessed day.
Best.
You do the same.
Take
You're
care.
watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We will be right back.
Wouldn't it be satisfying to own your own piece of paradise? The most important investment you can make in your life is real estate, and Fidelity has the solution for you. You could become the owner of a home or a lot on any of our beautiful islands.
Come and talk to a loan officer and inquire about how you can fund your goals with a loan today.
Because we know it means a lot to own a lot. Visit us online at fidelitygroup.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or visit any of our branches, or phone 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 for Freeport.
Hello, summer. Escape into summer when you fuel up with Shell. Every time you purchase $20 gas, you're entered to win your share of over $50,000 in cash prizes and fantastic trips, including a staycation at Grand Island Exuma, a shopping spree in Miami, and a 4-day trip to Las Vegas to see John Legend live. To enter, fuel up at Shell with $20. Go to winwithshellbahamas.com and let the fun begin. Say hello summer with Shell today. Conditions apply. Hello summer.
Welcome back. The Bahamas Historical Society is a nonprofit cultural and education organization and has been stimulating interest in Bahamian history for many decades. The Bahamas Historical Society's president, Andrea P. Major, and editorial director, Dr. Grace Turner, are here to provide us with some exciting updates. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Glorious, good morning, Mark.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes, good morning. Happy to have you both here with us dead early on this marvelous Monday. Thank you so much. I know there's a lot happening with the Historical Society, and so we're ready to hear it all. So first off, for those who don't know, give us an overview of the activities of the Bahamas Historical Society and Museum.
Well, just enlighten you a little bit on the history. We were founded on October 5th, 1959, and we've been going strong ever since. We've had many, many fantastic Bahamians throughout the years who have been our presidents and also who have helped to keep the Bahamas Historical Society alive. And a part of our objective is to discover, procure, preserve whatever may relate to the civil, military, ecclesiastical, legal, literary, natural, and cultural history of the Bahamas, and to collect, preserve, and publish historically genealogical, biological, and archaeological materials relating to the Bahama Islands. So we have a very wide mandate, and we try to do that. So if you were to come to the Bahamas Historical Society, you'll see our exhibits and the history of the Bahamas being showcased through photographs, documents, paintings, maps, artifacts, eco-facts, collections of Bahamian postcards, bottle collections, bush medicine, lighthouses, and it goes on, so that we can keep you there for 2 or 3 days.
That's good. That is very comprehensive. And when you think about it, you don't automatically think of all of those areas contributing to history. You think of history as just mainly being the letters in a book and some photographs and what we're taught in high school, right? But it's living, and there's so many different expressions of it. And I'm happy that you listed that off for us. Dr. Turner, we know that the Bahamas Historical Society's journal is an entrenched part of your annual activities. Please tell us what's currently happening in this regard and how the public can get involved.
Okay, so the Journal of the Bahamas Historical Society, we're currently in our 43rd volume for 2021. That has recently returned from the printers. It's fairly late this year, but it's currently being distributed. And we have a call for papers for the 2022 volume. We've had to extend that deadline to September 30th for those potential authors who want to submit an article for consideration in the journal. We use the Chicago style in editing. That means we use endnotes, not footnotes. And anyone wanting to submit an article can submit that at the Bahamas Historical Society at gmail.com. That's the society's email. For those contributing authors, you get a complimentary copy of the volume of the journal your article appears in. And as Andrea Major just pointed out, our mandate for Bahamian history is any aspect of Bahamian history, heritage, culture that is being presented in print. And
that's very exciting. I would actually love to have access to the previous volumes that came out. So we can talk about that off air. If you mentioned, if someone wanted to buy or have access to previous versions of the journal, how would they do that?
Well, currently we have all of the volumes from 1979. That would be the first volume. There would be one volume I am thinking that we currently do not have additional copies of. That is 2011. But from 1979 up to 2021, we have copies of the journals. The price has gone up in the last 10, 15 years. So instead of $5 a copy, they're $10. A full set of the journals would cost a bit over $100 at this point. But we have them, and the society is quite willing to comply with anyone who would love to have copies.
Perfect. And I just wanted to say that because there are many people out there who are probably interested, whether you're a student, you are a professional researcher, you work in the environmental field, or you're just looking to add to your collection of historical documents in the Bahamas. So definitely a great resource, and happy that we can access that through the Historical Society. Mrs. Major, tell us, what are some of the major changes happening at the Society currently?
Well, we're upgrading presently. We are closed for the summer, and during the summer, well, we close for August, and we're doing some work to the building, and of course, trying to upgrade inside the building. But some of the things you can expect in September, when we open on September the 12th, we're going to finally have that credit card, debit card device for you to pay, because many tourists, and of course, most of the visitors that we get are cruise ship tourists, they don't travel with money. So we're going to bring ourselves into the 21st century. Also, since COVID, we've been having our lectures and some of our meetings by Zoom and in-house. Some people still want to come inside. So we say, okay, come inside. We'll keep you distance and we'll let you in by Zoom. And of course, so even now, our international community can really get online even better because we have a lot of members who live overseas. So Zoom is a great thing. Yes, that's very good. And of course, we have, as I mentioned, online banking now. And the website, we have the website, which is, we have one that was launched last year because we were hacked. And of course, that is thebahamashistoricalsociety.org. And if you want to access the website, and we have lots of things on there, the titles for the journals from past. And of course, there are 3 journals now that are out of print. And of course, we're not reprinting. So some people like that hard copy. We're also looking at having a book sale come the end of September or the first week in October. We're having a meeting next Saturday, so we'll decide on that date. And of course, you should be able to get them at a little reduced price because we're going to sell a lot of the stock that we do have there. So we'll be announcing that publicly, as I say, the end of September or the first week in October. And I think many people do want that hard copy. We're talking about digitizing. And of course, we know that that has to come. But some people saying, I want my hard copy.
Yes. For me personally, I love to hold a book in my hand. Digital is fine, but I love to hold the book in my hand and write and make notes. Tell us, Mrs. Major, being a nonprofit organization, we know assistance is always needed. Does the Bahamas Historical Society require any support at this time? And tell us about memberships quickly.
We need a lot of support. Okay, during COVID, of course, we were closed for a year and a half. We opened last May fully, and we haven't had too many volunteers. We do need volunteers desperately to keep that place, to keep the museum especially open. And of course, the work of the society is quite different from the work of just the museum. The museum is more like the public end. But of course, you have the membership through the society and also the legal aspects of the organization through the society. But for people to join, very, very simple. And of course, the rates are excellent.
I got my credit card ready. Since I can do it online, I'm ready.
Okay. For individuals, We have an individual rate, an active 30, then we have contributing at 50, supporting at 80, sustaining at 100. And if you want to become a life member and pay once, it's $1,000. If you want to become a fellow member and pay once, it's $2,000. And of course, we have these things corporately as well, starting at $100, going right up to $3,000. So you can participate at any level. Yes. And we just need your participation. We need donations. And with regard to the journal coming out next, we do have people who take out advertisements in the journal. We're asking more companies to do that. Yeah. We have a wide readership, and we're asking more companies to do that. We also had to destroy the wheelchair access that we had, or the physically challenged access. We're putting up a stronger one in the front, and that's going to cost about $4,000. So we need some help with that as well. But that has to be done very quickly.
I'm sure that our viewers and the Bahamian Society at large are ready to support the Historical Society because of the important work that you do. We love the work that you're doing. Quickly, as we wrap up, how can the public reach out to any of you to volunteer, to ask about memberships, to be a part of the journal, or to contribute to what you guys got going on?
Okay, they can call, because we're closed, they can call 393-1696, and they can speak with me, or they can leave a message at 322-4231, which is the Bahamas Historical Society number. We have a machine that I can pick up the information. And you can become a member, and you can visit the Bahamas Historical Society. You can attend the monthly free meetings and lectures, support our fundraisers, give generous donations, buy our annual journal. We have school tours and group tours, so you can book a tour. As I say, we're going to be open again in September, and we have so many activities that the public can help us with.
Yes, definitely a lot going on. And we thank you both for coming on the show this morning. And don't forget, you guys, buy your journals because they can run out and you don't want to miss out. So we'd like to thank the president of the Bahamas Historical Society, Andrea Major, and editorial director, Dr. Grace Turner. Thank you for your valuable time coming on the show this morning. I'm looking out for that next journal. I'm looking out for the events, and I got my card ready to sign up for my membership. Thank you both again for joining us dead early this morning.
Thank you too. We appreciate you all.
Thank you. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
In the Bahamas, small business is big business. More than 90% of the businesses in the Bahamas are classified as micro, small, or medium-sized enterprises, or MSMEs. The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center was created to serve them. We at the Access Accelerator offer a variety of services to our clients: business advisory services, training and entrepreneurial programming, mentorship and incubation, and advocacy.
Join the Click is an initiative started by Cable Bahamas Business Solutions last year when we were trying to figure out how to help business leaders as well as consumers to stay connected. Working with Canoe, working with other partners, working with the government and My Gateway to help them to connect with customers who want to place orders and want to be able to do things in a digital way.
My Gateway. My Gateway is a groundbreaking portal through which clients can request and pay for government services online. We have 28 services. We expect to increase the number of services to a minimum of 200.
I love that we're helping the government and helping our citizens to be more efficient and to use their time more wisely.
I invite you to sign up for mygateway.gov.bs and let us make government work for you. Join the Click.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're at the halfway point on this marvelous Monday. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
And I'm Mark Daniels. Thank you for sticking with us to the mid-show. It's dead early on a marvelous Monday. Thanks for being with us.
Of course. So we got more stuff to come in the second half. It's already been a great morning and talking of learning more about that Eastmore development. And then, of course, love it when the Historical Society comes on. Mark, it's just so important the work that they do in protecting our history and making sure that it's there for us to go and see and revisit. And so loving those conversations this morning. And we still got more to come in the second half of the show. We're going to be talking. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
No, I'll just say I enjoyed those segments as well. And I love the Historical Society and they're awesome. Go.
Yes, they really, really are, though. They really are. But we got more to come in the second half. We're going to be talking about the Community Support Services Division in our Bridging the Gap segment. And we're also going to be discussing shifting paradigms in education with Dr. Marcellus Taylor.
Looking forward to those segments. And you might have seen folks walking around in orange vests with clipboards, thinking that they're coming to ask your business. Yes, the Census 2022 is going on. So we're going to have Kim Saunders and Kimberly Roll here to tell us about what's happening and how we all can contribute to this effort that's currently being undertaken. But before we do those segments, we're going to have a second look at weather with Brother Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather at sunrise, a tropical wave located just west of the Cabo Verde Islands continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms. This system has a low or 20% chance of formation over the next 5 days. On the local scene, mid-to-upper level trough east of the islands will move westward across the islands, generating some shower and thunderstorm activity, while high pressure continues to support moderate winds across the islands. In the marine forecast, those winds east of 15 knots, sea 2 to 5 feet. On Tuesday, continue east of 15 knots, sea 3 to 5 feet. And then on Wednesday, winds east of 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet off the central Bahamas. East to southeast of 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a low tide at 10:59 this morning. Next high tide is 5:32 this evening. Low again tomorrow morning at 4 minutes past midnight. Sunset 7:37 this evening. Rising at 6:46. UV index 8. Your water temperature 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Honeymoon phase last quarter. Standard look. Mid to upper level trough. We'll continue to have some cloudy conditions across the islands. We'll increase the shower activity come Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, with mostly cloudy skies, scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms. The temperature daytime will be around the 90-degree mark, at nighttime in the upper 70s. With that puts you up in your final good weather sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Star.
This segment is brought to you by RBC Visa Classic Credit Card. Enjoy all of life's moments with RBC Visa Classic.
Thank you, Godfrey. The Community Support Services Division ensures that Indigenous persons in the community have access to certain necessities. To tell us more about this division, we're very happy to welcome Patrice Curry. She's the Chief Welfare Officer for Community Support Services Division. That's located over at the Wolf Road Center for the Ministry of Social Services and Urban Development. Good morning, Ms. Curry, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning, and it's a pleasure being here this morning.
Always a pleasure to have anyone from social services with us. The work that you do is just so important to maintaining our society. And so we're looking forward to learning more, in particular about what you do. So what is the Community Support Services Division and what services do they offer?
Okay, Community Support Services, like it said, community. And a community is a group of people living in the same place, having a particular characteristic in common. And then you look at support. Support is give assistance to. And so when you combine that, community support is a division in the Department of Social Services that assists persons that are experiencing financial difficulties. And some of the services that we provide are food assistance, rent assistance, uniform assistance and footwear, utilities. We assist with BPL and water and sewage. We also purchase eyeglasses for persons. We assist with burial assistance and temporary shelters, to name quite a bit.
Yeah, that is quite a bit. That is quite a bit. And I think some of those services we may be aware of, like the idea around burial or the idea around food. But it's really interesting to learn about providing people with glasses, right? And I think some of us take that for granted. But that is an essential service in order for people to be able to get around and do things. And so it's interesting to learn that you do that. Now, I'm sure in order for that to happen, though, you have to make some sort of assessment of people. How are the assessments completed in order to know how you're going to help and who you're going to help with the services you provide?
Okay, well, assessments, we have several ways in which you can access the services. You can telephone us. We have the Promise portal now that persons can go online and apply on with their application. And then you also have walk-ins. You can still walk in at our centers and be served.
Okay, excellent. And what documents may be required by persons accessing services?
Okay, normally the basic documents you need to bring with you when you come is your smart NIB card, a passport, or a voter's card, a government issued. For adults, and for the children 17 and under, you'll need a smart NIB card with their birth certificate or affidavit.
Okay. All right. So the NIB number is always necessary. And then for the adults, they can either bring in that passport or that voter's card. And then for the kids, you want to make sure that they have that birth certificate as well as the
and their smart NIB card. Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Now, you talked about now having that portal open, but yet people are still able to walk in. I'm sure COVID impacted you significantly in delivering these services. How did COVID-19 treat you all during this time?
Well, it was really rough on the staff because we had an increase in services, persons accessing, wanting the services. And so the numbers increased, and the difficulty was with staffing with the COVID. We were on half-day shift or 1 day off, 1 day on. And so the services was not as quickly as it should have been. And then if a staff developed COVID, the whole area was shut down, and those persons were sent to our head office that had another area to assist. So it prolonged the services just a teeny bit longer than it should be.
Yeah, I know that sounds like it must have been incredibly challenging. Obviously, we are kind of back to full days, and those things aren't as much of an issue anymore. But are there any other present challenges that are going on in relation to accessing the services?
Well, I wouldn't know. I won't say we have no challenges, because now that the portal is open, if persons do not have a phone to access the portal, they come in, they can walk into the office where we are there from 9 to 5. I can truly say that community support has not shut down. Through Dorian, we were on the ground before, during, and after the pandemic. We were on the ground and working, and now we are working even harder now. So we have always been on the ground working. And if persons do not have a laptop, or computer, or phone to access one portal, they come in and we see them face to face.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
Yes,
can you give us the name of the portal again? Like, where could we go to find it?
It's on Promise, PROMIS, promise.gov.bs.
Promise. I love that. That is beautiful. Promise.gov.bs, and we can find the information there. Is there any other way to contact you? Do you have a phone number, or can you give us the address again so people know where they can walk into?
Okay, like I said, with it being community support, we have 4 centers that they can access. We have one in Fox Hill by the roundabout, north of the roundabout by the Fox Hill Park. There's a social services office for persons that's in the Fox Hill area. The boundaries for Fox Hill would be from Village Road, traveling east out Yamacraw. And then you have the Wolf Road Center, that's on Wolf Road in the National Insurance Building. But we are currently under some renovation, so we are located at our main office, Sunshine Plaza, Blue Hill Road. They can come in anytime there and they can access Wolf Road staff members. We have one on Robinson Road on the corner of Montel Heights and the Alexander House. There is one there. And then the fourth is on Nassau Street and the VB Munnings building next to Kentucky Thompson Boulevard. And so yes, we have 4 places that they can go to access any one of them at between the hours of 9 to 5.
Excellent, excellent. Well, this has been very helpful, and I'm hoping that our listening audience has been paying attention. So many services offered by your team, Chief Welfare Officer Curry, and we thank you. We really do for the work that you put in. You shared with us some of the challenges in COVID, but we know as a nation that so many people needed you and needed your team. So we really thank you for your continued work and support of our community. And we're just grateful that you joined us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise.
It was a pleasure being here and trying to educate the public. We are there to serve.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Any final words you want to leave with us?
Yes, I just want to encourage persons that if they're in need, no need to be embarrassed, no need to not come in. That's what the service is for persons that are in need and are experiencing some form of difficulty. I can also say that we have the hotline that Social Services has the hotline, but if persons need information, they can also call the hotline, and persons on the hotline can direct them to the various center to access to whatever they need. And the hotline number is 422-2763, 322-2763, or 711. It is the national hotline, not just for child abuse, but they can also access it and ask information about community support as well.
Excellent. Thank you for that. See, again, this is the information that we need to know, that it's not just for child abuse. Anybody, if you can get to a phone and you can call that number, they will send you in the right direction.
Yes,
Thank you so much for joining us, Chief Officer Curry.
Thank you.
It has been very educational and informative, and we hope that we'll get to speak with you again soon.
Yes, I hope so too. Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome.
Yes.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Who that is, Daddy?
Look like the census people. They ain't coming in here to find out all of my business.
But Daddy, in school they say everybody should do the census.
Oh no, that's the census people. I ain't got no time for that.
Mommy, everyone is supposed to do the census. How else we gonna know how much people is in the Bahamas?
How else we gonna know where to build clinics and schools?
Or how many disabled?
Or how many need welfare?
Well, I mean, I never thought about it like that.
Wow, I never looked at it like that.
Come on, Mommy, the count depends on you.
Let's do this, Daddy. The count depends on you.
Sometimes you need to make a classic move. That's why for all of life's moments, there's one classic credit card. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic Credit Card. Manage your day-to-day expenses as well as life's little surprises. Apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic and enjoy 1 year's free membership. Conditions apply.
Hello, summer. Escape into summer when you fuel up with Shell. Every time you purchase $20 gas, you're entered to win your share of over $50,000 in cash prizes and fantastic trips, including a staycation at Grand Island Exuma, a shopping spree in Miami, and a 4-day trip to Las Vegas to see John Legend live. To enter, fuel up at Shell with $20. Go to winwithshellbahamas.com and let the fun begin. Say hello, summer with Shell today. Conditions apply. Hello, summer.
Welcome back. The Bahamas National Statistical Institute, or BNSI, formerly the Department of Statistics, is preparing for Census 2022 after COVID-19 forced the national census of 2020 to be postponed. Here to tell us more is Kim Saunders, Senior Statistician and Chief Census Officer 2022, and Kimberly Rowe, Census Officer and Assistant Supervisor of the Census Section. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on Moms at Sunrise.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we were saying before, we got on the air that we recognize that this is a very important process. Not everybody fully understands it, and not everybody is always cooperative. So this morning, we're looking to dig into what the census is all about and how the public can help. So first question, what exactly is the census?
Well, Daniels, I just want to say good morning to our Bahamas, our residents and our citizens. The census is the most important demographic and socioeconomic undertaking that any country can be tasked with. It is 100% enumeration of the dwelling or living quarters as well as the population. It provides a wealth of information on all types of categories in terms of population, age structure, educational attainment, economic activity, disability, housing and other amenities, income, and the list goes on.
That does sound very extensive, lots of detail there. Explain to us, Ms. Roll, why is the census important for everyone to participate in?
Well, the census is indeed important for everyone. Like Ms. Sanders said, is a census, which means it's a enumeration of every Bahamian throughout the Commonwealth, residents, and anybody that calls themselves or reside here. And so it's important for us to get information on everyone so that we can know exactly what's going on with our country. And if persons don't participate, we are not able to provide the most accurate information. So I would like to extend at this point to Bahamas to please come aboard with us, partner with us, and to be very cooperative with our enumerators when they come to your home and participate. Those with dogs, please put those dogs away. In gated communities, we are asking you to please allow access to our enumerators. It's important that we get everyone, so we need to get into these gated communities. We also appealing to all citizens, wherever you are, when our enumerators come, please respond. It's very, very important.
So yes, and you're discussing some of the issues and challenges that you've had when conducting the census. So tell us, firstly, how can people identify the census workers or the enumerators?
Well, the census enumerators, for one, they would have on a badge with their photo on it. They'll be wearing a vest with the Department of Statistics on it. They'll be carrying a letter signed by our acting managing director, Ms. Narissa Gibson. And I'd also like to say, if the public feel uncomfortable, they can always call the Institute to verify whether these persons are from statistics, and we will surely identify those persons.
Perfect. Ms. Saunders, tell us about some of BNSI's milestones, especially when it comes to getting ready for this census exercise and the data collection methods.
Okay, we've experienced a few milestones. One of the very first was during the months of May to December of 2021. We undertook a listing exercise, the first ever for our country, and that's where all the buildings, dwellings, all structures, even those under construction, were listed by island and by district. And so this formed the basis or the foundation for us conducting the 2022 census. As you're aware, Daniel, this is the first time that we have eradicated paper and pencil census. So that's another milestone. We had a slogan in 2020 as we made initial preparations. The census has gone digital. No more paper and pencil. We are now conducting our 2022 census via electronic devices, mainly tablets. So that listing exercise provide the foundation for us to be able to have an online component, which was a testing ground for us, the first ever, because the only countries or the only Caribbean countries that had undertaken that task in previous censuses were Bermuda and Aruba. So this is the first for the Bahamas, an online census. That came to an end after the month of April. So we have learned some lessons and we are taking note so that we can further improve that aspect for future censuses. We also conducted, the first virtual training for over 1,500 census workers. That was indeed a challenge. I often tell persons that, hey, I understand what the teachers go through or went through during this pandemic environment, because the virtual training really presented some challenges, but we made it through. All right, so there are a few of the milestones.
Sounds like you have been very busy and the Institute has been very busy. Very happy to hear of these changes and ways to improve the data collection and the transparency, and also just being able to collect the information efficiently. As we wrap up, Ms. Roll, please tell us, what can the general public do to help with the census?
Well, I would say the general public, we need your support. We cannot do it alone. Like our slogan says, the count depends on you. So we're asking you to secure your dogs, participate with us. We're asking you to let us into your communities. We're asking you to answer the question accurately and honestly, most of all. And we say, if you have any discrepancies or anything, call our institute. We are always willing to help. So come on board with us, Bahamas. We can do it.
Perfect. I love it. I love the message. I love what you're doing. Thank you so much, Kim Saunders and Kimberly Roll from the Bahamas National Statistical Institute, here talking about the census 2022. It's gone digital. And look at, lock up your dogs. And look at, I know y'all don't like to talk your business, but we need it as a country. So just a little bit of your business will come out. It's going to be private and confidential. And once again, this goes into larger planning initiatives for the country, and you'll be able to access the data too once it's available to the public. So thank you both for coming to Bahamas at Sunrise. And Bahamas, do your job and participate in the census.
Thank you, Bahamas.
You watch
Thank
Bahamas
you,
at Sunrise.
Daniel. Thank you, Bahamas. A pleasant morning.
Morning.
We'll be right back.
One thing, two things, blue thing, old things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Our world has changed. Many businesses have been closed for months with little or no access to their customers until now. Rev Media can help you remain connected to your customers. Our trusted customized advertising packages and personalized consultants will provide your business with immeasurable support during this challenging time. Your customers are already watching. Rev Media can help you to remain connected. Call us today. Let us help you.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Dr. Marcellus Taylor, Director of Education, is here to discuss shifting paradigms, embracing change and innovation in education by rethinking, retooling, and rebooting to build a toolbox for sustainable excellence. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise, Dr. Taylor.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. And of course, many people starting their educational journey, some already begun, public school systems looking to be back as early as next week. And so let's understand what's happening. What are some of the more recent shifts that have impacted upon the delivery of education?
Well, clearly the Hurricane Dorian and the pandemic of COVID-19 have really impacted upon the way in which we have to deliver education. But even before those two things occurred, in the Ministry of Education, we were thinking about how is it that we could innovate and bring education to our students in a more exciting way, and also a way in which we can maximize the resources that we have. As many of you may recall, I've said on a number of occasions, the global situation with teachers is that we're going to have shortage, and we're seeing that in a big way all over the world. But in spite of anything that happens, whether you have teacher shortage, whether you have a Hurricane Dorian, whether you have a pandemic, education, which is the key to national development, must continue. And so of necessity, we have to be innovative and we have to do some things differently so that we could get the same or better results in spite of all of these challenges that we're faced with.
Yeah, and I love that you made a note. This is a global challenge with our teachers, and that in itself is a shift, right? And so let's talk then. You're in education, so you're a doctor, so you also approach things from a very scientific perspective. What measures are being taken to address these shifts so that as much as possible they can be managed?
Well, you might be aware that prior to COVID-19, we really increased our exploration of distance learning through our virtual school Bahamas, which is designed to support students in rural family islands, places where people do not want to go to teach, but where there are students who want to learn and who ought to get a full range of subjects, not just one or two subjects in their BJC or BGCSEs. We have also gone further in developing a repository, digital repository, so that teachers can exchange, develop and exchange locally produced but high quality instructional materials, lesson plans, and so forth, so that students could get the best of what our teachers collectively have to offer. And everybody has strengths and weaknesses, and you might have a teacher who's not particularly strong in one area. Well, the weakness of that teacher doesn't have to be passed on. Colleagues can support in that way. But also, we are very sensitive and concerned about the workload. And we've heard the complaints over the years, and we ourselves know that time after time, as society gets more complex, people want more information, people want more data, people want more understandings of what's going on. But when you are requesting this of people, it just means that they have that much less time to do their core work. Also, with the complexity of societies, the way in which families work or don't work, whichever way you look at it, the school has been called upon a lot to do extra things to support students. And so that's why you have guidance counselors, but sometimes we only have one or two guidance counselors in a school of 1,000 students. And so some of that responsibility and burden has been passed on to the teacher. And so the way in which we try to operate is to see how we could use tools, technology, use collaboration, ways in which we could strategize to work together to reduce the burden on individuals so that they can focus on their primary mission, which in the case of teachers is to engage students in a learning process.
Wow. Okay. Well, certainly it seems like a lot has gone into how you manage it all. And we know that our teachers are managing a significant amount. So I love that you highlighted that for us. I never want us as a nation to forget that. And then, how important is it as we speak about, even us as a nation, remembering all that our teachers manage, how important is it that we as a nation embrace change and innovation? You talked about some things that I'm sure my teachers didn't have when I was in school, but how important is it that we embrace those opportunities to be online, to share best practice online? How important is that change?
Well, it's essential because when you go about the process of making change, it's very difficult because you're moving out of a comfort zone. You're moving out of something that you know how to do, and even if it's not the most effective way, you've perfected how to do that. And especially as people get older or a little bit more experienced, they have the confidence in what they have done before. And so I think in the first instance, it's trying to share that vision so that people can be clear on what that vision is, what you hope to see. And then I think you have to then identify small ways in which you can demonstrate that we can attain that vision. You don't try to do the whole thing one time. And during COVID, we tried to do a lot, and that was part of the challenge. I mean, necessity just meant that we had to do a lot. But I think a lot of people felt overwhelmed because so much came along. But now that we're coming out of COVID, we can slow down some things. We can focus on some core areas that we believe that once we get those done properly, we can have the effect. And once people see that those individual initial things are effective, then they will have the confidence in the vision, and then they will embrace the change more readily. And so that's the way in which we hope to work on it over the course of this academic year. In terms of something like, for instance, the EMIS, in which parents would be able to go on and log and see their grades. We want teachers in the first instance to make sure they put the attendance of the students in every day. And as soon as students complete an assignment and it's marked by the teachers, put the grades in. So that one thing that can happen, and we want parents to be more of a part of what we're doing, we can say to parents in a monthly PDA, go online and check to see if your child was coming to school and what grades they have. And if you have any questions, ask us at these monthly PDA meetings. That way, before you have 4 months of work and then you get a report card with a student with a 0.6 average, right? You can know that your child didn't do well in an assignment and then figure out how it is that you can support. So if we can work in a way such as that, hopefully parents and teachers can see that we can monitor the children better, get to the root of the problem, assist them so that we don't have the disaster at the end of the term.
Yeah, very well said. And it's amazing that, even though this theme, this rebooting, retooling, and rethinking sustainable excellence, it applies to all facets. So it's not just teachers, it's also for the parents, it's also for the students. So this is really an excellent overarching theme that impacts all areas. Any final words you want to leave with us this morning, Dr. Taylor?
Yes, two final words. One is that, we want people to realize and have confidence in the system that we are indeed seeking to redress. At the very beginning is the physical health, safety, and well-being of all staff, students, and everyone on the school campus. Another thing that we're going to focus on is building the collaboration within schools and also the home-school partnership. And, the clear takeaway that I want people to realize is that we have to do this in a collaborative way, and we have to be focused on that goal. We hear people talking about learning loss and so forth, and I don't talk about it a lot, not that I don't acknowledge that it exists, but I want us to think of how we move forward. And I think in thinking about how we move forward, let's focus more on the collaboration and the focus on the student. And I think once we do that, we will see the students getting stronger, having more confidence, and their learning outcomes improving.
Yeah, very well said. Always a pleasure to have you have the conversation with us, Dr. Taylor. You always bring a different perspective to it. And I'm hopeful that people listen and tune in and recognize that we also have a part to play, both in supporting our students themselves, but also in supporting our teachers and the work of the ministry. So thank you so much for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back. That's going to do it for us, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Bahamas at Sunrise. We wish you a wonderful week.
Have a great week. We'll see you on Friday. Thanks for joining us.